And we're live. Good morning, chat. So we're going to do something that I've been meaning to do for a while, and it's a prelude to doing amateur radio stuff. The Linux kernel has what's known as an AX.25 stack. It's essentially the routing layer for... It's essentially the ability to route amateur radio data packets. It was committed to the kernel in the late 90s, but it's mostly a dead feature. It's still in the tree. Oh, my scroll wheel goes the wrong way in the VM. I have never, I've known this feature has existed for a really long time. I have never seen it set up. I've never seen it used. And right now, I don't have a camera set up, but I'm currently sitting at a desk. My Chromebook, hopefully the view is correct. I've had some glitches with the streams as of late, so let me make sure that if I change the scenes around, okay, that can go away, and that can go away. Just some leftovers from yesterday. So if I check here, yeah, I can talk to Synthwave, which is the Chromebook on the same network. So in theory, we're not going to be playing with radio on this one. We're going to try and route the packets over Ethernet. Just because I want to see if the stack even works. I've heard that it broke quite a few years ago, and then got fixed with a more recent kernel release, but I have never actually tried to make it work. So this document basically describes AX.25, both from a protocol and how to set it up. So you have what's called NetROM, which is a full network protocol and also adds routing to the system. Normally when you're transmitting AX.25 packets, you have to, it's stupid. You have to it's stupid in the sense that there's no intelligence in how the routing works. You transmit from repeater to repeater to repeater with its call sign in the packet. I wonder if it actually has an example here. No, of course not. Why would this have useful documentation? Like, this document talks all about how you set it up. It doesn't tell you what this is at all useful for. And my understanding is that this basically died because of lack of use. But as you can see here, it actually defines various address families: AF25, AF NetROM, AF rows, and IF-INET. And IF-INET is just standard internet. So you can see how it breaks down. Let me make that bigger. Yeah, so you can see you have the raw AX25 frames here. Then you have NetROM, which I believe is the routing system. You can also route internet over it. That's known as AmperNet. Although technically, AmperNet's a little bit of a weird term. AmperNet I've heard it described as internet over amateur radio, but I've also heard it described as TCP/IP over radio. It's sort of like the difference between Usenet and news groups. It kind of doesn't care unless you want to be pedantic. So in theory, it should be... Right now, I'm not going to be playing with radios, especially because I can't actually meet the legal requirements for transmission with AX25. I am currently in Canada, which means I have to put... my call sign is Kilo Delta 2 Juliet Romeo Tango, KD2JRT. When I'm in Canada, I have to put a postfix on it. I have to add /VE or VA7 because I'm currently in British Columbia. I can't do that because the field only allows 6 characters. So I can't even... Short of sending a Morse beacon to keep the transmission legal, I can't actually send this over radio until I get back to the States. But I want to see if I can even get it to work. Because this also would let me use Wireshark for debugging various other components. Yeah, so AX25 support has been stable since 2.2, and this document was written for 2.49. The kernel, this is an old document. Now, in theory, Debian should have all the tools available. Whether it actually does is a bit of a different question. So let's search AX.25. What do we actually end up with? Direwolf, AX.25 apps, tools, and X tools, which is actually kind of nice. So why don't we just start by, installing all those apps, AX.25 tools, and AX.25 X tools. So that actually basically just gave me all the basics for, yeah, so there's also APRSD and APRSDigi. We'll come back to that because I definitely want to do stuff with APRS. So I'm assuming the kernel from Debian has this enabled. Although I am tempting fate. I am on ARM64. So do we have AX.25? It's loaded as a module. So well, the module loaded and the kernel didn't crash, so that's a win. Okay, so if we keep following the directions, all right, so we can basically stop caring about this part. All right, so here's the rules. Each AX.25 and NetROM port on your system must have a call sign and SSID allocated to it. These are configured in blah, blah, blah. Some implementations such as NOS and BPQ will not will allow you to configure it. The same call sign SSID on each AX.25 and NetROM port. I'm assuming NetROM was probably something that isn't Linux specific. Let me see if I can. Oh, here it is. Packet radio. Perfect. NetROM protocol. I should have searched for this a while ago. Describes the higher level protocols used by NetROM, underlying AX.25 length layer protocol. It's interesting how this is a network protocol and there's no RFCs for it because this was completely done by... Like, there is ARRL and various ham radio magazines, but most of the technical stuff just ends up on, like, random websites because it's one guy that does it and then everyone adopts it. Circuit index, circuit ID... Window size. Yeah, so this is basically just talking about the routing protocol between the two. And from the perspective of the Linux kernel, it's basically blasting packets in and out over serial. There is a way to do it over Ethernet from what I've seen, which is what I'm going to be trying here as a prelude to actually doing this with a radio. I technically do have all the parts to do it here. I just am not. But I get back to Portland on Friday, so once I get to Portland, we'll be able to, I can throw a Baofeng on the Chromebook and then use the base station, on a Raspberry Pi. So yeah, that wasn't super useful. TCP/IP will use the call sign SSD, be transmitted for on point 1. So it can actually have different types of call signs for NetROM, and I'm still not sure what ROSE is. I'm assuming it's something similar to... So what exactly is ROSE? Well, here's it. ROSE Amateur Packet Radio Protocol Family. ROSE has okay, so this looks like this is there's multiple ways to skin this cat, and because this is essentially dead technology, because as I've said in other streams, Packet on amateur radio is almost dead, not completely, but. So if we want to configure an AX.25 port, I think there's something here for Ethernet. Baycom device, kernel sound modem, configuring this. Yeah, there used to be a sound modem in the kernel for this. I think it's still there. I just don't know if it actually works. That's like, that basically just lets it encode the packets. So that tunes the driver. User mode, sound modem device, EM device. Pi device, which is not Raspberry Pi. Packet Twin, generic SSC. Does it really not have anything about the Ethernet thing? Here it is. BQ. I feel like this is it. BPQ, because that sounds like. Okay, that is not the search term I'm looking for. Amateur radio. Like, really, it'd be nice if there was, like, a... I'm assuming this looks like BBS software. Be really nice if there was... Alright. Oh, here it is. Linux supports BPQ Ethernet compatibility. It enables you to run AX.25 protocol over Ethernet LAN and inter-network your Linux machines. It's associated with the Eve0 device. Okay, I have some real questions if this is going to work. We're also probably going to need the old school ifconfig command because I have major doubts that IP will support this. I'm assuming there's a driver I have to load. Well, it is there. And that did load. Alright, if I need ifconfig, where is... Okay, it is there. Did I get an interface out of that? Oh, I did actually get an interface out of that. I got BPQ0 and BPQ1. And you can see here, it's Ampere AX.25. It's ifconfig is officially depreciated. It hasn't gone anywhere because there has... And I actually disagree with the decision to depreciate it. It's one of the things that drives me absolutely up a wall about what Linux has become in modern days. There are changes for the sake of making changes that do not make things better. But that's why ifconfig is no longer in the default config for most Linux distributions. So it actually, yeah, so it looks like we just need to configure the call sign. And it has to be in the AX.25 port. So what exactly goes in that file? I'm assuming this may be much easier than I think it is. So let me grab a second tab and let's go up. So that is call sign. So it's Ethernet, call sign, radio, baud rate. So presumably, all I have to do here is AX ports. So let's call this KD2JRT15. And I think I can just leave all the other information the same. Packet length, window, and description. So that sounds right. So it says hardware AX.25, 15 up. Yep, and there's my call sign, up and running. So MTU is 256. And then I can also configure a route here. Because basically what this is setting is that if you want to be able to reach VK2 XLZ, you can go through VK2 SUT. So that actually makes perfect sense. And then this talks about setting up KISS and other stuff. So we'd have to put... Linux NetBSD does not have AX.25 support. This is a Linux exclusive feature because the source code is GPL v2. The authors have refused to, as far as I understand it, the authors have either been unwilling or unable to relicense it, and no one wants to re-implement it. So this feature is, and more to the point, kernel. This is a feature that would not make it into the Linux kernel in the current year. Realistically, AX.25 is generally done with userland applications, something like JNOS. Direwolf technically works as a TNC, but has essentially the same effect. So if I actually want to talk to the same call sign on both sides, I might have a problem because I don't have two call signs. Oh, actually, it looks like it just needs to be a unique call sign and SSID, so... That seems easy enough, question mark? The net config for the BPQ ODI driver. So that's an ODI is... That was Novell's driver interface for 16-bit PCs. Well, Nate, I actually want to do some amateur radio protocol development, and being able to use Wireshark would be absolutely amazing for that. And this is the easiest way I can get Wireshark. Plus, I also want to play with it. Like I said, I've never seen anyone actually use this feature, and off the top of my head, I can't even think about what it... Like, I can think of a few things where it might be useful, but... Again, I'm not sure why you would need kernel mode routing for any of this. It's why I really wonder why this needs to exist. So, alright, so if that's all I need for the actual Ethernet interface... Configuring Linux to accept packet configurations. I'm assuming this is what I actually need to set up. Right, because this defines things like the personal message service. And you can also set it to run other stuff. Like, what is AX spawn? Oh, it allows for login. If you actually want to be able to log in over amateur radio. Check the peers in AX.25 Connect. Call signs of valid amateur radio. Strip the SSID. Check the UID GID's value. Blah, blah, blah. And can create user accounts automatically. Neat. So it sounds like what I have to do next. Like, how would I connect to this? I'm assuming there's like a connect command. So it looks like I do need to actually set up two modes, because I don't think I can loop back with this. Or, well... Actually, you know what? I could. Hold on. I'm assuming port 1, I'm assuming that's like attached to Tailscale, because it's the only two interfaces I actually have on here. Yeah, I'm assuming that was basically what it, I'm assuming that's basically what it was used for. Um, Something I've been kind of mulling in my head is how to do this better in current year, because the historical way hams have done packet is we do it as point-to-point links. If you're doing packet BBS, you're basically just blasting AX.25 frames at each other. If you want to do something more intense, then you would have to put TCP IP on top of that, and that's a lot of overhead, and it still ties up the entire frequency band. Like, part of what I want to be able to do is through the existing APRS infrastructure, I want to be able to do both packet BBS and I should say packet BBS, but I want something equivalent to packet BBS and file transfer that basically is aware that other things are using the frequency band and it doesn't tie it up. Like old school BBSs, I don't know how many people here actually used FidoNet, but back in the day when FidoNet was still regularly used by most people, it's still around. Proficient users would actually set up a copy of the FidoNet software on their own computer and run as a one-user BBS, and this was supported through something called points. This would let you set up and do all your messages, respond to everything, and then just go online very briefly to transmit it and then get off. Something especially useful in places that did not have... In the US, we've historically always had free local calling, but that was the exception, not the rule. Europe always used to pay by the minute in the 90s. But the thing is, you can apply the same concept to amateur radio. So if we could make a system... I mean, realistically, hams haven't caught up to the current standard of what... Like, there are digital modes, but there's no homebrew digital modes for the most part. There is All-Star Link and Echo Link, but realistically, if you're doing digital, it's either going to be a DMR or ICOM D-Star. Yeah. Yeah, Nate, that was kind of what I was thinking. That's kind of what I want. Is like, I would love to see something like the personal message service be viable over APRS, without having to use the complete junk that is the messaging interface on every APRS client I've ever used. X-Aster does this the best, and it doesn't do it well. I've tried it with Pinpoint. I tried it with APRS. Is it the Windows one, not APRS? I can't even think of the name of it offhand. All right, so I'm guessing I'm just going to have to set up a second system. So configuring, like, how do I like? This is like the worst name for a command. It stands for Personal Messaging Service. Some BBS, some really fancy amateur rigs actually basically has this built in. I don't even see it as a package. I might have to actually go, like, find it. It doesn't even look like it's in the Debian archive. Oh, actually, it's only showing 100 results. Ends with keyword. Yeah, it's not even being shipped anymore. Of course not. Oh, N2RJT. That's. I was like, wait a minute. That's not my call sign. Oh, here we go. Configuring routing. Add radio. Oh, no. Okay, I get how this will work. So if I make a call to it, let me see what's actually... There's a less stupid way to do that. Is it... Why do I always forget the command? Yeah, screw it. I'm just going to do it the way I'm going to go ahead and do it the cheaty way I know how to do it, and I'm just going to read the database directly. Apps list. So what is actually shipped here? We have AX.25 call, listen, IP mon, and what I assume are radio control commands. Oh, you can use that to transmit a file. You know, I think the winning move here is I'm just going to set up TCP/IP and send pings, because then at least I can see in Wireshark if it's going out. So if I want to set up TCP/IP, which would basically be like, oh, I don't know. Configuring for TCP/IP. Okay, that looks simple enough. Let me pull up. I need to pull up a browser tab on the other side because I actually have to log into RDAC because I never remember what my. I actually have an allocation of IP addresses for this. I requested 16 IP addresses from the amateur radio digital communications folks that manages 44net. Oh, don't tell me their system is down. It says page expired. Let me try one more time. Portal. Oh, well, that worked. My IPv4 networks. Cool. Okay. So, if that's the case... So, I have config BPQ0 44 61 15 1 netmask 255. It's 255 255. It's technically a /28, but I don't feel like doing the math. Because like I said, I'm not routing this outside my home network. So let me also set broadcast 226115 255. This is to use an MTU of 512. That may or may not work with real radio. And we have to add a route for 44net 61 15 0 netmask 255 255 255 0. BPQ0. Okay, so now we have a route. Apparently we now have two routes. And then their instructions have add a default route. So, let's grab Wireshark and let's see if it blasts a packet out. Okay, so that's capturing. So if I send a ping to 44 61 15 2. Oh, and we do get it. Hey! Oh, check that out. Check that out. That is AX.25 frames. Look, chat, I exist inside an Ethernet packet. Oh, that's actually kind of neat. So the question now is, does the Chromebook see it? Because that's... Oh, yeah, I just thought about that. Because everything here is on flipping Ethernet Wi-Fi. It may not actually be able to talk to it. I do have Tailscale enabled, which in theory should be able to route this sort of traffic, but ... question mark. Let's shut down the VM, because I'm going to have to configure some settings. Alright, so UTM, edit, bridged. Yeah, it's only letting me bridge it to it. And do I even have a wired Ethernet interface on this computer? I don't think I have one plugged in. That's not my Wi-Fi card, is it? Let me just make sure it's not my Wi-Fi, because this is Mac OS. It's interesting. Actually, that is my Ethernet address, EN1, and yeah, that has a public valid IP. I don't know if this is going to work, because I've seen bridged interfaces break in fascinating ways with Wi-Fi, but that was Linux. This is a Mac. It may not be as insane with its network stack. And yeah, I just realized because I rebooted, I just lost all my settings. Oh, I'm a genius. I'm going to have to... All that needs to go into a bash script. I also need to fix the screen resolution. I don't know why it doesn't save that setting. Alright, so can you talk to the internet? You can talk to the internet. Okay, so what IP address is my Chromebook setting on, just to make sure they can talk to each other? The Chromebook is on 127. Okay, well that works, and that's still listening to the SDR I set up days ago. Presumably it's not actually hearing anything, so I can Control-C that, detach, and disconnect. Yep. Oh, I still haven't figured out what it's all... Like, I haven't found a good description of what any of this shit is. I know what AX.25 is. I have some impression from it from reading the documentation. Okay, so I actually need to do the entire configuration step again, because I rebooted my computer. I also hope that the clipboard works between... That's not what I'm looking for. Hoping I can copy and paste. Although that is actually... I just found something kind of useful. I will have to look at it at a later point. It's a documentation on... It's a document from the kernel talking about this and DECnet in the same document. Because there used to be DECnet support in the mainline kernel. Okay, so... Oh yeah, this is also talking about... Hold on, let me see here. So this talks about back off, exponential. Like, if I build my thing directly on top of the Linux kernel stack, it does kind of save me a lot of pain and suffering, because it should theoretically be less stupid, but if I'm also sending just broadcast packets, which is what I'm kind of planning on doing, I don't think any of the intelligence will work. All right, so if we go back to the part about here. Oh, right, you can't do it as multiple commands. You have to do them as separate. So, AX.25 start sh. Sudo ifconfig bpq 44, and then I just got to put in my prefix, which is 61.15.1. Actually, I should just figure out what the actual net mask should be for /28. I forget what net mask for /28. 255, 255, 255, 240. MTU 512. I don't think I actually need to add a route. It shouldn't actually require it. It should add one automatically. Yeah, it did actually add a route automatically. All right. So if we reopen Wireshark, I configured Wireshark so I didn't have to run it as admin, but apparently that doesn't survive a reboot. All right. Cool. Okay. So let's get on the Chromebook. And basically, we're just going to do what we just did. Sudo app install AX.25 tools, AX.25 apps. So this one's going to be 14, and this is going to be 2. And then we have to set the port. Because you know what I'm kind of thinking I want to try? I kind of want to see if I can then send packets to my Raspberry Pi, which is currently running in Portland. It's got an SDR plugged into it, and unfortunately, as I found out much to my annoyance, even with a Yagi, I still cannot reliably hit the repeater here. I can hit it if I try, but it's only hearing about 1 out of every 10 packets. Okay. Alright, so if I just... I don't know. Oh, chat. ARP is doing things. Wait, do I actually have... Do we have internet? 44, 61, 15, 2. Check that out. That... Chat, look at that. That is actually kind of a unicorn. That is internet traffic being routed with absolutely no Ethernet. When was the last time you saw that? That is... Okay, that's kind of cool. I'm not going to lie. The MTU is remarkably high for this. MTU is... like, if I just ping it directly, it shouldn't be nowhere near that high. Yeah. Why does it take 400 milliseconds? That is... Why? Why does this take 400 milliseconds? Like... Alright, you know what? This needs a shit post on Mastodon before I continue, because I have to figure out what I'm going to do next. When you route packets so hard... Alright. So, that seems easy enough. So, NetROM interfaces AX.25 that carries NetROM. Like, what is the point of NetROM? NetROM protocol only supports used extensively by radio amateurs. Standard socket metaphor, T1, T2. That is completely useless. Like, it sounds like a routing layer, but... Alright, so here's rows. I'll be back in a moment. Alright, I'm back. So it's a modified version of the... Alright, I'm assuming this web page probably stopped existing decades ago, so let's see if the Internet Archive has it, although... Where the Internet Archive is... Yeah. Of course. For those who don't know, the archive got hit with a massive DDoS and has been having other issues. Okay. NetROM was literally an alternate network, started as a ROM you burnt and put onto hardware TNCs. Now, see, that's the sort of cursed shit I would actually do, because there is an actual reason I'm looking at playing with this, Nate. I have a compact portable with 2 serial ports, which means it can run NA7Q, and if you know what that is, I salute you. Because the idea of having a compact portable, like a literal 80, it doesn't even work with an 8088. I have to put a NEC 20 in it. Because the blasted because APRS DAWs doesn't work with an 8088. It actually needs minimum an 80186, which I can fortunately put in that machine with a NEC 20. It's why that video has not actually come, because the parts took a very slow boat from China. So Rose was another routing. Oh, I mean, the biggest problem with AX.25 was there was no routing protocol. The APRS solution to routing was wide 1.1, or wide N Paragon, which works but is noisy. Like, there's got to be a better way. Like, there's got to be a way to be able to do this and not, like, to have packet that is more than APRS, but not have all the downsides of why packet radio kind of went the way of the dodo. So I'm assuming Rose is actually what I care about here, but we should probably try and run like an actual AX.25 app. I'm still surprised at how much latency it is. James Lynch, it wasn't actually... Yeah, I'm surprised myself. Now, the magic trick here is, can I actually get it to route to my Pi over the internet? There is a way to do that. It's called AXIP, which talks about decarbonization. Right, this is like the worst search terms I could possibly use. Or is it... I think it's IPIX, because... Wait, is that... Did I read that somewhere right? This document was written in 1995, but it holds a wealth of information... Bring out your dad. Bring out your dad. All right, let's see if there's actual... This is probably the single most useful document I've seen. Single floppy AX.25 router. Oh, are you... You're kidding, I can't right-click. Status, not properly tested, but assumed to work okay. I actually remember that one, Sunsight. Can I actually find a copy of that? And even if I can find a copy of it, will it compile in this century? Well, someone's done it with LoRa. Honestly, for $10 a modem, I'd really be interested in trying this, because in theory, everything I'm doing here can also be done on unlicensed bands. I'm doing this on amateur bands simply because I'm a licensed amateur. Why not? But if I used the unlicensed services, there's MURS and there's FRS in the US, but neither legally allowed data modes. LoRa is an ISM band. It's proprietary, which I don't like, but, well, whatever. Half of amateur radio is disgustingly proprietary. There is a Reddit post about this. Let's see if there's any... Let's see if Reddit has anything good. So apparently there's an AX talk command or AX... AX call. So now we know that it's like actually working. So it makes a connection, AX.25 NetROM or Rose connection. And then there's also AX listen. I could set up X-Aster. I know it supports the Linux TNC stack. Oh, here we go. Oh, there is actually an RFC about this. RFC 1226. Internet encapsulation of AX.25 frames. Okay, so I was wrong. There is an AX.25. There is some RFCs about this. Let me see what it actually has to say on the subject. That is a two-page... It's a two-page document. Oh, got it. Chat, that is... It's IP, but it's not TCP. It has a protocol number. Yeah, Nate, I mean... Part of what made packets suck so much is that the FCC regulations were really annoying on symbol rate limitations. That those limitations died this year. Is officially dead. There are no symbol rate limitation. I don't want to say there are no, but I know for a fact that the old bandwidth caps have been lifted. So, I mean, that looks simple enough. What's this one? I'm assuming this is a routing daemon. Does this not work with the kernel AX.25 stack? Because it kind of looks like it doesn't. Now, the other thing I'm kind of curious about... Before we do anything else, I want to see, like... is it TTCPI for if I want to do a bandwidth test? It's not TTCPI. It's what was TTCPI? TCP console tool. iPref will do it. So okay, so that's listening there. I was really expecting this to be harder. It's more just esoteric than actually hard. Is it doing anything? No. Client connecting. Oh, I made a typo. Yeah, that would do it. Oh, that doesn't look good. Look at all those dupes. That kind of implies there's something broken in this kernel's networking stack. Yeah, that... Well... Hold on. I remember I actually limited the bandwidth. Yeah, no, that actually looks correct. So, you know what? Just out of shits and giggles factor. If we, oh, I don't know. I'm not completely sure that's going to work without a reboot, but... Or not, I shouldn't say a reboot, but... Fiddling with it. Yeah, I might actually have to reboot just to make the new setting kick in. Because if I can use this to actually just set arbitrary bandwidth limits, that's actually really useful in and of itself. It means I can just set it to 1200, and then I know what it's going to perform like in real world conditions to an extent. Yeah, chat, that... No, wait, we've gone from 104 kilobytes to 360 kilobytes. Yeah, that's working as intended. That seems like it's working as intended. I say with great sarcasm. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I'm curious. Yeah, it's, oh yeah, look, it's a lot slower. I can see it in Wireshark behind in the background. That's a lot slower. Uh, 55 kilobits per second. Well, it's a lot slower, but I don't know if it's actually working. Do I want to bounce the machine? I could bounce the machine. I'm not sure if the setting's being respected or if I actually have to reboot. No, it's not 1998 speed. It's more like 1988 speed. And even then, you could get faster in 1988 without that much money. Well, no, actually for 1988, no, that actually sounds about right. Alright, you know, I'm just going to reboot it. Like, I wrote a script to make this easy to redo, should we need it. Oh, look, it actually remembered my screen resolution for once. So what? I'm assuming it install. So I told it to install graphical applications. What did it actually install? We have XGPS. Yeah, I guess the speed restriction is not respected for these devices. Okay, well, that's not that big of a deal. All right, so looking how Rose actually works. See if there's anything else that actually talks about this. AX.25 specifies channel access as carrier sense multiple access if you need to transmit. Here's the radio, does not transmit until it's done. Digipeaters allow the extension of the range of transmitters by retransmitting any packets addressed to the digipeater. Works well on a few people. Like, if I tried to use general AX.25 on the Portland APR, on Portland's 144.39 network, it would end badly. So actually, it looks like NetROM is actually this is actually quite useful. So it looks like NetROM actually was trying to do what I am kind of trying to do here, that it uses unnumbered information UI packets, which is the same of what APRS actually uses. Right, okay, so this is G8B. Okay, so now I'm starting to see where we're actually going here. So G8BPQ, which is currently the person that I'm writing the stuff that's currently the driver we're using. It was self-named code could interact with a network of TNCs and act as a driver for the BBS application app. Right, that makes sense because even an 8088 could theoretically handle multiple users on multiple radios, so yeah, okay. All right. So this was actually quite... That was actually a really... that was actually useful. ChatGPT actually gave a real... Okay, hold on. I have to try this. I actually have to try this. If it actually gave a real answer... how do I configure rows routing on AX.25? That's not completely wrong. I don't think there's a .rows file. Like, parts of this looks a little weird. But that's surprisingly accurate. Yeah, that's the other problem you occasionally run into amateur radio. You get some... I don't want to say... You get some really interesting characters. So how can I route AX.25... Unless I can just tell it to... You know what? There might be a stupid way to make this work. Is there a... No, it did not make a Berkeley device. Damn it. I was hoping there was... Do I have to enable that? Is it Berkeley packet filter? Because if... Yeah, okay, I didn't think that. I didn't think that was there. There were, at times, where there were dev devices that basically became that. I believe that exists on BSDs, but... Broadcast media across the internet encapsulates a TNC. Digipeater mode is a bit more difficult. Does wire... You know what? Does Tailscale route layer 2 traffic? I'm assuming it does. Or maybe not. Like, if I could actually route AX.25 frames over the internet, that would actually be useful. Logging needs to be properly implemented. Of course, it doesn't even ship a default config file. That would just be too useful. Like, of course it would be too useful. Alright. Is there something else I can actually set up to, like, use this? Alright, let's go back to here. Configuring. It presents itself as a program supporting a KISS interface in which you pass AX.25 frames and then interface to TCP/IP protocols configured blah blah blah. Okay, do you have something like useful for this? Wow, that is obscenely annoying. You can create... Okay, so you can actually do it. You have to use a pipe device. So if that's what I actually want to end up doing, do I even have these? I'm assuming I have, like, the... Of course not. TTYQ, I think I'm going to have to make the device by hand. You know, let's close some of these tabs. I get the distinct feeling there's no actual easy way to do this. So Zero Tier does support it. I know I can Oh, you're right. I could digipede. I could digipede to my home network, but the home network is in Portland. I only have a TCP/IP connection to it, so I don't see how I could actually route. Dual port TNC. MKISS allows you make use of modems on dual port TNC. Take serial connected to multiple point, blah 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 blah. Do this connected. Pursue TTY devices. Create a kind of pipe that talk to. Of course not. No one actually seemed to have the code to make this work. Nope. Someone did this with Raspberry Pi. This is someone doing Raspberry Pi. This is someone actually doing Raspberry Pi to do exactly what I'm trying to do. And of course, it's an answer. Okay, QSL.net. Newer link systems have been okay. Okay, I guess they're just doing this all with SOCAT. I guess that is the way we're going to have to do this. Screw it. Alright, so if we do this... I probably don't have SoCat installed. I do have SoCat installed. And now I have my... cool, that actually worked. So if we now take the example config file, such as it is... actually, hold on. Do I need to do this here, or do I need to do this on the Chromebook? I'm not sure if I need to do this here on the Chromebook. You know, before we go down this, we haven't actually done anything that uses the stack besides just blast things out. So we want to accept packet connections. This file does not make much sense to me. Port configuration, no call, parameters. So I'm assuming, do we actually have this file? Let's see what chat's actually saying. Yeah, Martin, I actually have another stream where I did actually blast a few packets over a sound card. Alright, so let's go with, so it's KD2 JRT. I think I set this to 14. Also would help if I could type. Don't tell me I have... Yeah, I did set to 14. So the first parameter is the incoming call sign. It doesn't look like it takes a... doesn't look like it takes any other sort of parameter. What is TTY link D? Oh, it actually allows for use of talk. Okay, I do actually kind of want to try that, but... eh. So instead of the default being that, there's AX spawn, which I believe AX spawn starts a terminal. What is node? I don't have node. So, alright, so if that's how that works... I'm assuming the U is actually the, Oh, I don't actually have it. Oh, it's... Alright. It's root. Alright, so AX... spawn, change user, and then... valid port 1. Via radio. Why doesn't it like that? Oh, because it's ether. Okay. So, I'm assuming all I have to do is AX call 0 or 14 KD2 JRT. Oh, here we go. Call radio. Okay, so it's call, AX call, ether KD2 JRT 14. Well, this is cool. I think it's actually 15. My super secure password. Oh, wow. This that is weird. I have never... That is... All right. Okay, I kind of want to see this working in Wireshark. That's cool. How did I get the menu to come up? It was... Yeah, that worked. So I actually want to see this in Wireshark. Right, so that sets up the connection. So that's SABM, and like, yeah, you can see each frame going through it. Well, hold on. Source destination. Am I not actually going anywhere? That doesn't look right. Because technically that should be two different call signs. Please tell me I didn't screw this up. 15 here, and you are what? 14 there. Oh, that explains it. That explains it. So that connects to 14. No AX.25 port data is configured. But I put 15. Oh, why was that working? No, right, because I want to talk to 15. I'm saying the route. Yeah, okay. I'm deeply confused on why that worked. It doesn't seem like it should. No AX.25 port data. So the port name is the first thing. The call sign of the physical interface to bind to. Okay, so that does have to be 15, because that's saying that 15 goes out there. And if we go over here, so that's 14. 14. Maybe this is, you know what, maybe... Actually, chat, that looks like a bug. Chat, look at my call sign. 96, 88, 46, 94, A4, A8. There. 96, 88, 64, 96, A4, A5. Chat, that actually looks like a bug. But over here... Okay, so the destination is the first field. Maybe? I am deeply confused. So when it sends the packets to KD2JRT15 to KD2JRT15, I get the Chromebook. But when I set it up correctly, I don't get the Chromebook. What the fuck? I'm sorry, but what the fuck? There could be a lot of bugs somewhere with this. I doubt this code doesn't get used very often. All right, hold on. Let's see here. What are you actually... Yeah, so AX destination 1514, 1514. So that all basically works the way I'd expect it to work. And then if I do the other way around... That's on the wrong machine, because I'm picking myself. Yeah, all those frames looked happy. AX call is running on a Mac. It's running. What you're seeing on screen is my MacBook. Is a Debian VM on my MacBook Pro. I've got a Chromebook sitting on the desk next to me that it's talking to. So 44net is happy. It just seems to have broken in other places. So what am I doing wrong here? So I'm on. I'm 15 here. I want to dial 14. Like, I see packets going over the wire. What is it sending? Because that sets up the keyboard to keyboard mode. Because I set the call sign wrong. That would do it. That would completely do it. Well, that didn't work. God, yeah, you probably wouldn't even be able to play NetHack over this. Yeah, okay, so we now have it routing. Okay, so what happened was... This is a very stupid layer 2 protocol that has no brain. For some reason, it will actually accept the source and destination being separate computers with the same SSID and not break. This isn't TMUX, this is AX call, because this is designed for keyboard-to-keyboard mode. In theory, I could actually, if I set it up for the talk daemon, like it's intended to, I could make a, I could actually, let's see here, link. Because you can do TTDY link, and then you can basically set up TalkD to work with it. So I can use raw mode if I just want. Okay, cool. I'll try that. Apparently that's not the There we go. SETI echo off. Is it no echo? It's chugging. Oh, that's slow. That is really slow. Like, it shouldn't be that slow. Although, you know what? I have a rate limiter on it, so maybe it is actually that slow. All right, it's SETI minus echo. Hey, look, the problem went away. Neofetch. That is probably the first time Neofetch has ever been run over an AX.25 link. Okay, yeah, I have to admit, that is really cool. I like... Chad, how often do you see a terminal session that involves no TCP/IP? Actually, I could run tmux over this. Open terminal failed. Terminal does not support clear. Can we go nethack? I'm actually curious if it'll run. Chat, look at that. It doesn't even support... Oh, God. This is going to be remarkably broken. Choo-choo! I think I should turn up the speed. That is not fast. That is not fast at all. Yeah, let's try export term. It would actually be xterm. It wouldn't be, Can I run screen? Oh god, I can run screen. I have to hit Control A and enter for it to listen to the command. Because I don't think it sends anything. Yeah, it doesn't send it until I push enter. Because this is very old school terminal shit. Alright, I'm going to be back in a moment. You know, I actually wonder how hard it would be to connect legacy X.25 devices and route them with AX.25. The protocol should be fairly similar. Okay, so now what? Where do I go from here? Screen is terminating. I'm assuming nethack will actually work. Why does it want to install... Oh, no, that's all auto-remove. That's fine. So now the question is, can I actually do a file upload like this? Because in theory, this should support it. So if I want to send a file, like with AX call, because it says it does have it. The next thing we're going to be doing is we are actually going to do this over radio link. Like I said, now that I have some idea of how it actually works, I'm now ready to make it be very noisy. Yeah, like, I'm trying to figure out how you can actually make it, Oh, yeah, maybe I can just do the file upload, because it is a paired set of programs. So if I do control... I can't be in raw mode for this. I actually need to have the terminal. It's not completely reliable. Alright, so if I actually want to send a file, just to amuse me, what should I send to it? Enter file name. You know what, I'll send the Linux kernel. Just because I can. Yeah, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. Stop, 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 stop. Did I do any damage to my session? I think... Can I just do it like... I'm assuming I just can't cat a kernel binary. There's no way that's gonna work. There's absolutely no way that's gonna work. Send autobin... Oh, you know what? I'm going to do something incredibly cursed. Are you kidding? Is UU encode no longer shipped in Debian? Also, did I just lose my internet connection? Oh no, it's just being a bit laggy. Being very laggy, but it is working. It looks like, yeah, it's their end. No, we're going to send something a bit bigger. Okay, so it's in char utilities. What do I actually have on here? Like, do I have something... so UU encode boot VMZ Linux. Does this just print a... Hold on. In file, output file. There we go. Chat, I'm taking the odds of this actually working. But we are now transmitting a kernel, a UU encoded kernel over AX.25. Yeah, the Wi-Fi router here, Wi-Fi routers in my general proximity have to deal with protocols that they were not designed to deal with. My home one has probably done AX.25, AppleTalk, IPX, IP, real NetBIOS, not NetBIOS over TCP/IP. I'm actually going to take a bit of a brief break here, because I kind of want to brainstorm for a bit. And then we're just going to kind of leave that running. I'll be back in a little bit. Well, I definitely want to do free aim relay. I'm just getting my shoes on because I actually want to just go outside for a bit. It's actually a nice day here in Vancouver. We've been dumped on for the last 4 days, so I want to enjoy a little sun. I also want to think about what I'm going to be doing next, so that's why we're just going to take a bit of a break. so let me put this over here, and we just make this. Like that. All right, I'll be back. I'm back. Is it done uploading? Well, something happened. Apparently it got off the terminal. Did it copy the file over? $150 kilobytes. How big is it supposed to be? Wrong terminal. 43 megabytes. So no, that completely failed. That fell over. An excellent chef. Actually, Nate, hold on. I'm going to write some notes down because you've actually been really helpful with this. So if/when I actually make a video about this, I kind of want to, I'm not going to put the notes there because I'll just lose them. Where do I want to put the notes for this? Yeah, I'll just put it. I'll just throw it in this document. I'll put them somewhere else in a little bit. All right. So, given all this kind of works, sort of, I'm assuming if I wanted AX.25 source routing to actually work, I'd have to set up AX.25 IPD on the Chromebook, and I would have to set it up on the Raspberry Pi that I have back in Portland. I'm trying to think about the easiest way to actually go about that. Well, extension is not the word I'd use for AX.25 because it more cuts out a lot of things from the protocol. Oh, and my post has already gotten 5 likes in Mastodon. That makes me happy. I'm kind of curious why that didn't work, although it's not all that surprising. So how do you actually send a file that way? I'm assuming I have to, like, run a command. So, yap download. So I know Yap is, it's a, it's a way to basically handle file transfer. Oh, here it is. How you actually get to work. AX get put, download session, set block length. So apparently there's a command called bget. No file to send. Bput. I'm guessing it's waiting for a file. Send autobin. Well, I saw okay. What is it actually sending? It's like, is it actually sending... Oh, it is actually sending data. It's actually sending a lot of data. So that is not going to be fast. That is, I don't even know how slow that's going. Yeah, 33 kilobytes. Let me set a timer just to get a rough idea. Like, how fast is that going in a minute? Stopwatch, 1 minute. So, 37 kilobytes. Let's see here, set. So, 40 kilobytes right now. So, how much does it manage in a minute? Well, it seems to be okay thus far. Like, if we just get onto it directly, do I have a... Yeah, I have a kernel downloading. Very, very slowly, but it is downloading. And if I run file on it, I'm assuming... Yeah, it is actually a boot image. So, that does actually work. It might take a really long time for that to finish transferring. Oh! Right, that's the stopwatch I just set. And that's my heart just stopping. And it also crashed. Because, of course, it did. Joy. Like, yeah, it is doing it, and then it stopped doing it. You know what? This is not an encrypted... This is not actually over a radio link, so I could actually just try using SCP. Normally what I'm about to do is actually illegal. But right now, because there's no actual radio involved, this is fine. Because if I was transferring this over radio links, you can't use encryption. I'm seeing there's a lot of errors on the other terminal. I'm not sure. That's why I'm seeing if SCP will work. It managed the key exchange, and then it died. Oh, that's not the terminal I want. Yeah, it's trying to resend transmissions. I think... You know, let me lower the MTU. John, this isn't over radio. This is wired Ethernet. And it's illegal on amateur radio bands. Although, strictly speaking, the standard is the communication cannot be obfuscated. The reason for that is that there are some radio protocols that are inherently encrypted. So the way the ham radio community has interpreted this rule is that if they post the encryption keys, it is completely copacetic. Because I'm not actually transmitting over radio, it's not a problem here. I will probably have to set up RCP if I want to do this over real radio. So if the lower MTU is it... Oh yeah, that's actually way happier. Hold on, before I do it, let me do this on this side as well. Or 255, I think is what I set it to. Seeing a lot of retransmissions. Like, I feel like something isn't completely happy about this. Oh, no, there it goes. So how fast is it going? Sarge N95, it's a legal gray area. Most hams would probably say it's not it wouldn't be legal. I'm not certain I actually agree with that interpretation, but I also wouldn't do it myself because even if it isn't technically illegal, it is against quote unquote the spirit of amateur radio. Yeah, low raw would be fine for doing this, and if you were to do if you were AX.25 can be run over low raw, it would basically be identical. Yeah, it's sent 255 kilobytes, and then it's stalling because of retransmissions. What exact? Hold on, let me take a closer look at this. Why is this? Yeah, I mean, for stuff like to give an example, something like GD. I'm not saying this as a lawyer, but something like basically, if it's over radio, it's assumed to be in the public, and call signs are always supposed to, with one very small exception, a call sign in amateur radio is a human. There are what are known as club call signs, but we are not caring about that for this. The only exception to encryption over amateur radio links is you can use it if you are controlling a spacecraft. That is an actual exception put into the rules. It's similar to how transmission of music over amateur radio is illegal. Although sending an MP3 over amateur radio is, once again, one of those fascinating gray areas because you're not technically sending you're sending binary data. You're not actually sending music. But yeah, there's this interesting exception about that you can rebroadcast transmissions relating to the launch of U.S. spacecraft with music as is. I'm not sure you could actually pull that off in the current year, and I'm also not sure if it would apply to SpaceX. If it does, it would probably only apply... because those rules were written when NASA was the only thing launching stuff into space, at least in the U.S. Obviously, the Russians also lobbed things into, Soviet Union at the first, and then Russian Federation in current year. Yeah, I don't... So, okay, so it's basically done all that. So now that that's queued down, like, if the packet storm is over... Yeah, no, it's still sending retransmits. Like, why are you having... Now, let me try taking the MTU even smaller, because when I tried this earlier, I actually had to go all the way to 128 before it would actually work the one time I tried this through Direwolf. I mean, I'm seeing a lot less transmissions, but this is over Ethernet, so it should really not care. Care. Nate, honestly, it could be. The AX.25 stack is known to have some kind of annoying... I shouldn't say kind of annoying issues, but it has issues. Yeah, I can't even control C it. It's like it's completely hung up. Like, this feels very buggy. Can I install an FTP daemon? All right, well, that works. So, you know, I just had a realization what the problem might be. Yeah, like, I'm looking at all the packets being blasted out the other side, and it still doesn't look happy. Alright, so let's try... Is it making any headway? Okay, it is actually making headway, but look at the packet drop. Like, can I stop this just so I can get a better look at it? So it transmits, it retransmits. Yeah, it's just dropping packets. And it's going at a blistering 4 kilobytes a second. I'm not sure what to make of this. Like, yeah, it's still doing the same thing. It's retransmitting the packet over and over again. So we have the frame, 250 bytes in the wire. Yeah, it's just a data frame, AX.25. kind of implies something's actually broken in the Linux kernel. Like, yeah, it may be no receive buffer. Let's take a look at the good old config file. Window parameter or max frame for this configuration. Configuring for TCP IP, broadcast MTU, add net. It might be dying due... You know what? It might be dying due to packet size. I would be surprised by that, but I also wouldn't be surprised by that. Like, are the pings even going through? One is the one I actually have to ping. No, that's right. Yeah, here we go. Start. Continue without saving. Yeah, look, there's no dropped packets here. Or maybe there is. Hold on. Okay, yeah, no, look, we are actually dropping packets. 5, 6, 7. Control C. 35 transmitted, 25 received, 28% packet loss on what should be a reliable link. Chat, I get the implication that this is broken. Yeah, it could be MTU. DGM, it's because we're transmitting TCP IP over AX.25. If you look at the frames, our layer 1 is a KISS frame. There's an AX.25 packet, and then in the AX.25 packet, there's a TCP IP packet. It's a proper turducken. It does seem like we are actually exhausting a buffer somewhere. Default Windows size for this interface. What the hell is that? I'm assuming I'm going to have to look at the source code to actually figure out what the hell that means. Max frame set. Okay, so the max frame setting of many TNCs. Now, this document says it's 256, but my own experience is that doesn't actually work. Let me just for shits and giggles. Maximum length of the packet, maximum window parameter, max frame of many TNCs. I'm not even sure what the window size actually does. See if a smaller ping passes. Yeah, that's actually a good point. Let's see if that actually works. Uh... S is what it actually is. Yeah, I already saw it lose a packet. Does kind of imply that shit's broken. Well, the thing is, there's no serial port involved here. All right, you know what? Let's take a look at what the Linux kernel has to say on the subject. T1, T2, T3. Default connected size, standard window size, default window size for standard AX.25, extended AX.25, allow connected modes. Back off is linear or exponential, because I remember seeing a setting about that. The max number of unacknowledged transmitted frames. So I think we have, you know what, let's set the frame size to 1. Chat, that seems happier. I lied. It's still 20% packet loss. I mean, we can make the, you know what, we can make the MTU smaller. Let's go down to 64. No, we're still losing packets. Like, at that point, we're reaching the minimum of what you can actually do. I forgot what the actual minimum is for TCP/IP. There is a minimum. I think it's 56 is the absolute minimum packet size for TCP/IP to work, which is the size of the header frame. Connected mode. So it uses exponential or linear, and there's also extended. I have no idea what DG or VC is. Increase the timeout on ping. Alright, let's try increasing the timeout on ping. It does not seem to be happening. Helping. Timeout is seconds, I assume, not milliseconds. It could be a problem with the VM. Technically, this is a MacBook Pro connected over Wi-Fi talking to a Chromebook that's also over Wi-Fi. So it is entirely possible that... Oh god, that might actually be the problem. The Wi-Fi router might be blowing a fuse because it's dealing with truly strange IP packets going its way. You know what? Why don't we get... You know what? Hold on. I just had a brainwave. Why don't we run Wireshark... Why don't we run Wireshark from the Chromebook? And let's see what it's receiving. Hold on, before I do that, do I have enough disk space? I have almost no disk space, so hold on, auto remove. Because the Chromebook has almost no free disk space on it. I have no idea. What I do know is that the AX.25 kernel stack has been hosed for almost a decade. It got fixed in late kernel 5, the 5 development cycle, but I don't know if anyone who's actually using it. Well, this is UTM, so it's basically a hacked up QEMU. So why don't we just see if the packets are even getting there? No, I have bridged Ethernet, or well, I have bridged to wireless. I set that up a bit earlier in the stream. Oh, right, this won't work with tmux. BD to detach, or... Oh, I don't want it to connect to tmux. Hold on, if I exit all sessions, it will create a new one. Okay, well, that worked. Of course, it doesn't actually see anything. Sudo b... X11 connection rejected because of wrong... because it's running as root. God damn it. Chat, I kind of hate technology right now. Can I do this with TCP dump? Yeah, I didn't think I had TCP dump installed. Oh, you know what? Hold on. I know a really stupid way to make this work. I'm going to do something... This is going to make... Even this makes me unhappy. Can I just tell it to start GNOME terminal? Wait, is this Wayland? No, this is X. I'm not going to question why that worked. I'm just not going to question it. It also didn't work. I'd probably have to SSH in his root directly. Damn it. Alright, we're just going to do TCP dump and see if I can remember the syntax. I really don't like using TCP dump. I did configure, I did depack, yeah, it's hosed. I've tried it before. I just want it to bind to one interface. I want it to bind to... Can I pop you out? I can't easily pop you out. So what is it actually receiving? Right. Why would I assume that AX.25... Why would I assume TCP dump has any idea what AX.25 is? Why would I assume that a command called TCP dump knows what AX.25 is? God damn it. Alright, hold on. I did see one thing that I want to try. Let me just try reconfigure, because it... Yeah, nope. I think it's libpcap I have to do. Not the command I'm looking for. Yep, and no ports. Of course not. Because it would be way too easy to make that work. I'm just kind of wanting to bang my head on the table right now. Yeah, I guess, I could do that. Like, if I want to capture to a file, what do I have to do? Capture... Do I just redirect it? It's been a while. Yeah, actually, I think I can just... -W. Wait, where are my packets going? Chat, it's not dropping packets. Oh, it dropped that one. I'm going to let it send 100 packets and I'll Control-C it. Is it me, or does it just seem to be, like, dropping less packets? 66 packets responded to by the kernel. All right, so because I don't really feel like copying it over, because I'm going to just be lazy, and we're just going to deal with it being a little laggy. So what exactly is going on here? Okay, chat, I just noticed something that doesn't make sense. Are those the same sequence number? Why is it sending the reply twice? Like, look at that. It's sending from it's sending every packet twice. Chat, that actually looks like this looks like a networking bug. I think I hit a bug in the kernel. I'm actually gonna I'm actually gonna download this because I think I need someone else to look at this. I actually think this is a bug in the Linux kernel. It might not be. I might just be completely incompetent. But come on, brain, work with me. Actually, you know what? I want this. You know, I'm going to throw this on Discord because I want someone else who is not me to look at this and tell me if I have not gone completely stupid, you know, completely crazy. Okay. Let me throw this on Discord while I think about this. Come on. Load. So I just threw the pings up on Discord. Let me see if I can find a better place so people in chat can look at this. Well, Sarge, I mean, what we were seeing before, I mean, I can try it. There's nothing stopping me from trying it. They're like, Python. You know what? I should actually dump this via Wireshark just to give an idea of what it is causing. TCP dump. I probably should do a smaller file than this. Let me see here. TCP dump, write, gget, pcap. All right, so what I actually want to just do like a much smaller file. Like I'm looking for like a 1 megabyte file. Yeah, screw it. I always forget the I always forget my prefix. It's okay. 44, 61, 15, 2, 8,000. And Firefox isn't even trying to open it. Can I get the index at least? Okay, I can get the index. Oh, there we go. So why is this working? Oh god, you know, I wonder if running TCP dump is affecting the results. No, but chat, we haven't been able to get it to even work this. Oh, no, there it goes. There it goes. I want to see if it even completes the file. Alright, I think we're just going to let this download because I want to see what the packet log looks like when it's all said and done. See, here's the problem. I ping it over Ethernet directly, I get 10 millisecond pings. I ping it through AX.25 and I get 500 millisecond pings. TSO or LSO. Yeah, you know what? Here, let me see here. TCP segmentation offload. Disable. I'm assuming it's not actually going to do anything, but let's... Do I have ETH tool? I don't have ETH tool. Nope, TCP segmentation offload is off. Right there. So that's not the problem. I'm dumping it through TCP dump. Once it's done, we'll take a look at the. We're going to take a look at the dump file, and we're going to see how badly it puked. I mean, it is working. Check ifconfig. I mean, I'll put ifconfig up on screen. Actually, hold on. Although, actually, the MTU on this side is actually very small. Although, I also notice that it's not transmitting packets. Like, that should be... That number should be going up. Which tells me that there... which now makes me really think there are, in fact, bugs here. Yeah, the transmit packet counter is completely broken. Also, it's an MTU of 512 because I'm an idiot and I forgot to change it back. Nonetheless, it is actually working. Yeah, so Sarge N, we have half of the packet stats, which really, really tells me that this might actually be a Linux kernel problem. I mean, this was broken for years. When Arctic sold 44net, the /8, and they sold half of it to Amazon, they amateurs then ended up with a /9 and a /10, and they ended up with several $1 million. I think the sale was something like $28 million, which they then immediately used to fund a kernel developer to fix the AX.25 stack in the kernel. And by fix, I think it just means make it not kernel panic anymore, because that is apparently what it used to do. And if you enjoy this, I do have an amateur radio channel on my Discord. Link should be in the description. Like I said, even when packet is used in this day and age, it's not usually the kernel AX.25 stack. Sarge, let's wait. I actually wanted to download just so we can get an idea of what it looks like. But when we were looking at it earlier, actually, you know, I have Wireshark running on this machine. Like, or Wireshark can crash on this machine. Yeah, I mean, Sarge, I mean, either Wireshark is completely busted, which is entirely possible. I doubt this code has been tested in probably a decade. I've never been to Lithuania. I've always wanted to make it to that part of the world. The furthest east I've made it, I've been to Bucharest, I've been to Sofia, I've been to Istanbul, and I've been to Erbil, Iraq. So I guess Iraq would actually be the furthest east point that I went on the map. I can't think of any... And not counting the one time I actually flew around the world. I traveled west in a continuous direction, starting in New York to Seoul, Seoul to Mongolia, Mongolia to Beijing, Beijing to Naming, Naming to Hanoi, at which point I got absolutely sick. And most of that, up to that point, all the travel from Mongolia to Vietnam was by rail. Flew to Siem Reap in Cambodia, took the bus to Bangkok, took a flight from Bangkok to Ethiopia, and then from Ethiopia to Washington, D.C., and then back to New York, going right around. They're exactly the same way on both ends. If we look here, receive packets, and... So this is received 7.4 megabytes. This has... Oh, wait, right, no, because it's transmitting it. Yeah, I actually think the kernel's fucked. I have no idea who I'd even contact about this. I think... let me look on Ampere, because if anyone's going to have a support group for making this work... 44net. There is a mailing list. Which has had all of 8 posts in the last month, but it does actually... Yeah, I think I gotta send Ampernet a 44 net mailing list thing. Ugh. That's sucky. Hey, Hobbs. Well, you see again. Do I know? Are you one of the Hobbs I've met before, or are you just referring to the fact that I'm actually live streaming? Um. Well, it's not all that hard to travel extensively when you live out of a backpack, which I did for years. I wasn't homeless per se because I always had a place to return to, but I had a job that allowed for full telecommuting, and they realistically didn't care where I was. So I took full advantage of it. I mean, there was no point in not doing it. I mean, how many people throughout their entire lives dream of doing that one big trip and never do it? For me, that was a starting point. Actually, you know what? That's actually a really good question. So the Chromebook is running Linux 6.6, and my desktop is running, or the VM is running 6.1. I believe it got fixed in the kernel with 6.0. Oh, okay. Yeah, the problem is I know a few Hobbs, but yeah. God, I the one that I'm thinking of is from the land down under, but I'm not sure if that's you or not. But either way, I'm glad you're here. Is it done yet? Is it done yet? Oh God, we could. Oh, hold on, chat. Wait. That is a terrible thought, and I probably shouldn't do it, but there's nothing stopping me from rebuilding the Debian installer with AX.25 support and then installing Debian over a radio link. No, there's actually nothing illegal about that. GPG is used for authentication, but authentication is copacetic. Like, there is actually a special mode for SSH known as Encrypt None, specifically for use over amateur radio links. I don't think it's in the stock one because I can't imagine Theo actually merging that, but I do know it exists. So it did download. Swedish Hobbs. All right, so let's just take a look at the party. Let's just see what the party looks like on this side. So it didn't drop any packets over here. Uh, 126. All right, let's take a look. So what is the actual Chromebook seeing? Yeah, look, the Chromebook is not actually retransmitting all that many packets. The only time it's retransmitting something is when an actual ACK message gets punted. So this really does look like the TCP/IP stack is blown a fuse. I should probably try this in the other direction just to confirm that. So Python M HTTP. Then over here, Well, that's interesting. That looks like it's completely broken. It should resume. I wonder if I need to build a newer kernel. I mean, maybe I need to use 6.6, although we're still seeing interesting behavior. Yeah, it's all right. Fine. Control C. Try that again. Oh yeah, no, port number would actually required. Although I have no idea what it's talking to. It's not even getting started. I really don't want to build a kernel. If I have to do it, I'll do it, but I really don't want to do it. Yeah, it's not even. Uh What's the current version of the kernel? I'm assuming. So Linus's tree is 6.11. Please tell me Debian has pre-made 6.11 kernels. Like, okay, I'm not going to use a there is a random kernel here that I could just download that would work, but eh. All right, screw it. Let's just build a new kernel. We're just going to do it. Let's just rule it out so I don't have to think about this. Because if it does it on the latest kernel, then whatever. I can't update the kernel in the Chromebook because it's a hacked one, but this is a bog standard one. It might also just be broken on ARM. I mean, that is completely and totally legitimately valid. Make silent old config. So not old config. Oh, you know, I can just hit menu config. That'll just update it. And just because I care enough to look, networking support. Yeah, nothing here should care about it. Save new config. Make old config just to make sure it's actually having no changes. Yep. Yeah. Hold on. Hold on. Yeah. Ooh. Thank you. Ooh. Food. Food has arrived. Apparently, debugger food has come. Also, something broke. Oh, right. I set up SOCAT, but we're not actually using it because SOCAT is only going to be used for routing AX.25 traffic over IP. So if I wanted to set up an AX.25 network between here and Portland, that's what I would need. But I can't even get it to work reliably across the same room. I'll be back in a moment. I'm back. This is the first real food I've had, like, today. Nope, SOCAT was not involved in the loophole. Apparently, under AX.25 rules, localhost doesn't mean localhost. It means that it's the machine down the hall, and it is as cursed as it sounds because it doesn't feel like it should work, but it does. No, it was pastry with meat in it. I'm not sure what it's actually called, but it was very tasty. It just arrived. I will say that if this is completely hosed with the new kernel once it's done building, I'm going to call the stream here, although I think I'm going to call the stream here afterwards, just because I have no idea where to go from here. I mean, on one hand, yes, I did get it working. On the other hand, it's completely broken. Well, not completely broken, but it is a little unhappy. I could probably give this J8 and it'd go faster, but I'm like, meh. Well, it's a big pierogi. Well, it was a really big, giant handheld pierogi in a wax. Okay, apparently it's called a Cornish pastry. Come on, compile. If I wasn't lazy, I would just turn off the things I don't need, but I'd probably break half the operating system. Debian tends to be kind of specific on how it wants its kernel set up. There used to be a guide, I assume it still exists, on what you have to do to quote-unquote officially support a self-built kernel. Like how you deal with modules, how you make DKMS work. You shouldn't do it unless you really need it. The British pierogi. Yeah, well, I'm technically in Canada, so it is the absolute best British cuisine that you can get in North America. I mean, it is, they call it British Columbia. I mean, although if I was really going to have the national food of Canada, it would require a poutine and take off 3 years of my life just from eating 2 of them. I'm running out of things to say. The wheels in the compiler go round and round, round and round, round and round. I'm losing my mind here slowly and so early in the day. Okay, it's in file system, so it should be sooner rather than later. Question mark. So Tim Hortons used to be good, and then it got bought by American Venture Capital and is now absolutely ass. It's bad in the United States. It's worse in Canada, just showing that Canadians always seem to get the short end of the stick. On the plus side, they get the consolation prize is free healthcare. So the downside is you have to live in Canada. Well, I was about to make a very dark joke, but then I just thought about it better. I discovered Timmy's. I don't remember them being in New York City when I was a kid. They may have been there, but it was a few years before they kind of really exploded in the United States. But when I lived in Rochester, New York, which is only 70 miles from the border, 70 miles from the border at Niagara, there was a Timmy's there, and I remember them being really awesome. And then they went to shit. I remember I went to Montreal just before the pandemic. I went to Timmy's, and it was like biting into pure disappointment. It wasn't bad per se, but it was just everything about this was just sad. Was that the build error I just saw it? Oh yes, we are out of disk space because god damn it. I didn't give a lot of disk space to the VM. Shit. It's a pre-installed image. What can I remove? Yeah, absolutely nothing. The kernel takes more than 1.4 gigabytes to build in this year. Okay, problem is I also have to build the flippin' modules, which is kind of annoying. How the hell am I going to do this? Am I really going to just have to install a new Debian VM? I mean, I guess I could, but no, this is just how the pre-made image for Debian for UTM is. It just has no disk space. You know, screw it. I'm actually going to fix this because this is an actual real problem I've run into before. So, you know, it's yeah, you know what? We're We're just going to install a new Debian VM. Do I even have an up-to-date net install image? I do, actually. Okay, so hold on. I actually gotta go download a new Debian image. Okay, that's downloading in Chrome on the other screen. I don't want to overcomplicate this. I just kind of want to see if this works or not, but my soul is kind of hurting. I don't have a way to resize the disk. I'm not using Parallels. I'm using UTM, which is not the most intelligent. It's a free and open source front end to QEMU and can technically use Apple virtualization. What am I actually going to call this? I'm just going to call it testbed. You know what? There we go. Oh, wrong time zone. I'm too used to being on Eastern time. Okay. And then I just gotta copy and tar up my entire home folder. I really like how new versions of VirtualBox can just load a pre-seed file and make it go. Not here, but I do actually really appreciate that Oracle added that feature. Not that I really want to ever use an Oracle product if I can avoid it. At least it downloads fast, because we're not downloading it over an amateur radio link. If I don't get this in the next hour, I'm just going to call it there. Like, I always remember watching progress bars as a kid, back when this used to take like an hour or 2 hours for it to actually, do its thing. Um, and it's like the most exciting thing is when it got to the halfway point and you got to discover how the font changes when the colors go over it. Oh man, I had a really at times I don't know, boredom is a thing. God knows that we all probably did a ton of things while being locked up during the worst of the pandemic. All right, cleaning up. Okay. All right, so I just need to fix the network adapter on here. Network bridged. Yep, that's fine. And start it up. Or start it up without the install CD in there. That would go. That would help. I don't know why I have to forcibly stop it. I'm assuming, like, I've had so many problems with guest editions on UTM that I think I'm just going to pay for parallels at some point. Uh, 162.1.129. All right, so if I just want to copy all tar files through SH, just because I just want to copy everything over. Okay. So while that goes, because I should copy it, well, close enough. I can just go into single user mode and copy that out. So while that's downloading, let's go grab a Linux kernel and let's try this again. Right, can I sudo now, please? Alright, cool, I can. Yeah. I'm actually getting to the point that I really want to, like, take a shower and just rest for an hour. I will likely live stream later today and do Space Age, just because I really want to play Space Age, but like I said, I'm not going to do... If I'm going to live stream a game, I'm also going to do regular content alongside it. And this is also something I actually want to do. I'm just stretching out here in my chair. Okay. So you're still unhappy. Okay, now we wait. I'm actually due for another COVID shot. I really should go get it. I got kind of sidetracked with moving coast to coast this year. It's been a very busy and very long year for me. Sorry, I really don't know what else to say at this point. I don't want to be dead air, but we're literally just watching this thing compile. All right, and I'm also gonna have to copy over all the AX.25 stuff. You know what? I can do that while we're waiting. Okay. So that should be everything copied over. I think I can shut down the other VM now. Which is here. And you can go away. Yeah, you know what? That's fine. Just go die. Memory manager, file system, crypto, kernel, blah, 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 blah. I really do think I'm going to, assuming the bug still exists here, I think I'm going to send an email to the 44net mailing list and see what they have to say about the Linux AX.25 kernel stack. So many drivers. Linux file system support, because that's something we actually need. And my mind is just kind of turning into goo. I'm assuming we're near the end. Although I still have to also do module install, which also takes a while. Because we do need the modules. Yeah, I'm definitely reaching the, it could work under WS2 because it's running a full Linux kernel. I've had trouble getting networking working the way I expect it to with Linux subsystem for Linux 2, but that's probably just a skill issue on my part. Is it done yet? This was not what I was expecting to do when I put this stream up. "75% of CPU, 100% of CPU. We need more CPU." Honestly, this would have been a good time for me to go take a break, actually. Well, yeah, Linux for subsystem, Windows subsystem for Linux is just Hyper-V these days. I really preferred V1 in a lot of ways because it really would have allowed for some... if they took it further, you would have been able to do some really awesome stuff. But I can understand why Microsoft didn't want to have to maintain compatibility with the kernel binary API. I'm actually surprised they did it that way to begin with. Although, if it's based in the old school of thought, like the OS2 and POSIX subsystems, that makes perfect sense to me. Well, at least it looks like it's all in the modules right now versus anything else. I just wonder if I've got the... How many cores did I actually give this VM? I gave it 4 cores, so yeah, it should be fine with J8 because you can usually run 2 compiles on and still get a net increase in performance. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go take a walk because this is gonna. I think this is gonna take a bit of time, and I think a little bit of a break is actually called for. I'll be back in a few minutes, unless this finishes right as I put my shoes on. Before I step out, because I just threw my jacket on and used the restroom, I'm just going to put a little note up. That was not what I was looking for. I'm just AFK for a moment. Okay. Also, I realized I just put a typo because I can't apparently spell. No, it's not done yet. Wow. I really thought walking around the block for a bit it'd be done by the time I get back. Nope. Kardak 386. This is live. You get to see my suffering in real time. Or in this case, we get to thumb twiddle. We get to aggressively thumb twiddle together, because there's nothing I can do. What you're watching is what I'm seeing, and until this is done, there's nothing I can do, because blah. That's why I don't like building with the default configs. It takes so long. But I really don't want to like have to figure out a minimum work. It would take longer for me to figure out a minimum working config than it would take just to let this run. I think as soon as this stream is done, I'm going to shut down. I'll take a shower. I'll rest for an hour or two, and I'll probably do Space Age later tonight, assuming I have the energy. Actually, you know what I can do while this is going? I can look at the 44net mailing list and just see if there's anything, like, interesting on it. So, archives. Is there a search? Kernel AX.25. Search. So there were some patches for 419. And a lot of a lot of people that post and then there are no replies. 200. Just to see what else is here. Like, here's reports of it being kind of broken on 3.12. Okay, hold on. Let me actually look at the top level thread. Can I... Oh, okay. Wow, that is the stupidest interface for search I've seen in a while. It only shows the post. You have to click another link to see the entire thread. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing a lot of people complaining that basically it has a lot of issues. Let me see if anyone's actually talked about the BPQ interface on this mailing list. 7 years ago. Awesome. And this is talking that there's an active group on Yahoo Groups. Yahoo Groups have been dead for a long time. There is a Linux hams mailing list on Vigor, which is the kernel. Vigor is the kernel mailing list stuff. So let me. Oh, hold on. I think I just found a bug report that's actually relevant. Let me pull this up and put this on the other screen so we can look at it together. This is from the Linux hams mailing list, and it's actually from this year. This is the exact bug I'm running into. Alright, so you know what? This is actually a known bug. Or, I'm not going to say known bug, but it is a actual bug. So, according to this bug report, so according to the duplicated and reordered frames bug, that means I'm almost assuming that this is busted. So according to this bug, the file AX.25 kick take a look here. Net. And I'm also looking at a Spotify Linux kernel, not what I actually need to be looking at. Here we go. And also, get rid of the smiley face. Net AX.25. Requeue all the unactive frames out of the output queue to be picked up from the timer. Chat, I think I might actually shut the stream down here because I'm actually starting to feel really tired and a little shitty. Yeah, you know what? I actually think I am going to shut this down here. That means I think I'm going to have to look at the code for this and think about it for a while, and I'll test this between streams because I think I have to stop this here. I am dead. I've been going for 4 hours. So this is your host and commander signing out, wishing you all a pleasant day. I really wish I had a bit more energy. I think after a shower and some food, I will be much more capable of going. Yeah, if this is an actual kernel bug, I might take a stab at trying to fix it. I'm going to have to look at how the other backends actually do it. But I don't have the mental spoons to actually do this right now. Plus, I'm also going to have to recompile the... If I actually want to do this, I have to recompile the kernel on the Chromebook. I don't have a way to do that because that's an AMD 64 machine. I'd have... Well... I could cross-compile. Like, I don't want to, but I could. Yeah, I'm not going to make myself feel sick for this. I'm going to shut this down here. Thank you all for watching. I will see you in the near future. This is your host and commander signing out, wishing you all a pleasant day.